Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Okay, hi guys, welcome to my stream. I am actually going to be treating the
New York AM session. Using ICT's concepts. I am a funded trader. I'm still on my journey to becoming wildly profitable, but I just want to record my process or my progress with live streaming, and I'm also, of course, sharing what I know and hoping to help someone else out there. I would appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel if you want to come along the journey and see how I navigate price action. So, we're just going to go over some pre-market analysis right now based on what I'm seeing. I'm leaning more bullish for the day itself. The reason is that we do have previous weekly high right here, right? I know that there's a lot of stuff on the chart. Let me see if I can just take that off for a second. We have previous weekly high, which I think is probably the draw for this morning or today, for this day. Then we have previous daily high. It's the same as the previous weekly high. So I really think that that's a strong possibility of there's a strong possibility of price drawing to this area. And obviously these highs up here. I'm looking at the 4 hour. This is just top-down analysis based on what I'm seeing on the higher time frames. Looking at that, we've already done all the pullbacks we needed. We've already traded into these fair value gaps. So obviously we are bullish on the 4 hour time frame. There's no need for us to go back below here. So what I'm assuming, or what I'm thinking, could happen is that we could drop down into this fair value gap here, and it would send price higher. Okay, let me go over that again. I'm gonna just go over this really quickly. I did not realize that my screen wasn't showing. Alright, what I am seeing here is that we have the weekly high, as I said before. We could probably go for these, and it's the same as the previous day's high. So I think these are the draw. We are bullish on the 4 hour, where we've already traded down into this fair value gap, and we're pushing higher. I don't see a reason to come back below this low. We have this fair value gap here on the 4 hour that we could trade down into and send price up into these highs. So this is an area that I would like to get a buy from. I'm looking and I'm seeing here that we have a low inside of the fair value gap in the same area that the 4 hour fair value gap is. So what I'm watching is that we could come down. We've already taken the buy side here. I had that marked out, relative equal highs. So we could see a trade down into these lows here, taking on low, maybe sweeping this low and tapping into this fair value gap, which is a 4 hour fair value gap. And then I would like to see it respect the upper half, leave a portion open, and then we can see that continuation up into these highs, unless it just doesn't take these right now and just displaces higher right up into these highs. But it depends on what we get at the open. So right now at the open, I'm gonna actually lean a little bit more bearish, because I'm expecting price to come down and take these lows, take these out. But long term wise, I'm expecting that price will take these and bounce from this area here up into the highs. That's basically what I'm seeing on my charts. So we have 3 minutes until the open, and then we'll see what we get. Then we also have all these pre-market lows here. So it's already taken buy side. I'd like to see it push up into this end up, respect the upper half, and then starts to roll over. And attack these relative equal lows and this low. There's a lot of reason for price to come back down, even though I know the higher time frame draw is higher. So I'm thinking that's a really good manipulation to go lower, to go higher. So that's what I wanted to see. It can dig into that one more time, maybe touch the consequent encouragement, and then roll over. So we are about 2 minutes away from the open. So let's see what we get. We have a lot of lows put in. So I'm expecting some sort of and we also have the RTH gap below us as well. So I'm expecting some sort of manipulation down and then higher. All right, so we do have market open right now. So let's see what we get. And we have no news today, so or tomorrow. But so I'm expecting price to be a little bit slow, but it should still be fairly clean. So yeah, I like the fact that we have wicked above this new day opening gap. I mean new week opening gap, and the bodies are showing that we are not interested in going higher for now. So I like that. Right. This should not be, I'm expecting this to be a bullish order block, a bearish order block. But my entry P area is a fair value gap, so I'm gonna have to wait for that. I can see other P areas, but of course you have to have one that you're working with. I'll use the other P areas just for like understanding order flow or reading price action, trying to get a feel of where it's going, so I'm able to point them out or see them. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna actually take a trade on them, right? So, and then we close back above the new week opening gap, so we have to be patient. It's a few minutes after the opening bell, after NFP Friday, and we have a discount opening range gap. This is just me thinking about all the reasons why I don't want to be long. Yeah. So and it's a Monday, so gotta give it a little bit more time to, because right now it's bearish. I mean, right now it's bullish, right? And again, I think these areas are potential draws on liquidity for price, but with the discount gap, I really would have wanted to see a manipulation leg down before we go for those highs. If we get it, it's completely up to price. I mean, it really can just shoot all the way up there without pulling back and taking any of these. If it does, we can do one of two things. I can wait for the 950 macro and take a fair value gap to trade up into these if it's not yet taken, or if it is, we can look for a reversal from a 10 a.m. reversal back down into these lows. I really like these relative equal lows. I think it's a good area that smart money will accumulate longs and possibly into this for 4 hour fair value gap, but minimum I'd like to see get below these lows, right? But right now it's really showing every indication of bullishness, of it being strong, but I'm bearish for right now. So let's see. So we have the first presented fair value gap of the morning and of the week right there. Right, no volume imbalances. Yeah, this is showing strength, right? So what I'm looking at, right, is the fact that so we have this bearish fair value gap right here, right? I'm going to take the short from here and put my stop there, right? And I'm looking to get around below these lows. So I don't like how price action is looking right now. What I'm thinking right now, right? We just inversed. We just closed above this gap. I don't like it. The bearish gap. Right? And I'm still looking for a run below this. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But if we get to 950 and we haven't started looking like 955 and we haven't started rolling over, then I would look to take a fair value gap to trade up into these draws, right? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm looking at is that we traded up into this wick, right? And we failed to touch the upper quadrant of the wick, right? That's indicative of bearish, right? So I'm watching the wick. I'm watching how we're reacting to it. The bodies are respecting the lower half so far, right? Let's see what we get in the macro. Yeah. So far I'm not liking how price action is. Obviously we've closed below the first presented fair value gap. We immediately closed back above it. We're currently inside of a possible inversion fair value gap of this bearish fair value gap, and we also have a bullish fair value gap right here. All right, so we're kind of in between some PDRAs right now. So I'm thinking Again, I'm waiting for like the macro. What's interesting is that it hasn't gone to take this high out, right? If it was super strong, I'm assuming it would have used this already. But again, it could be time distortion waiting for the macro. It's a Monday. So we'll see what we get, right? My stop was originally above, I want to say it was above the upper quadrant, but I'm not entirely sure. Right? Let's see. I'm still really interested in getting below these lows. That's kind of where my attention is at the moment. But we just gotta wait and see what we get. Okay, so what I would like to see is we get below this bearish fair value gap and we can use it as a reclaimed bearish fair value gap. Now that we've gone above it and we're in the lower half, right? That's not necessarily showing strength, right? We're seeing a lot of weak signatures in price where we fail to get to the upper half, which is good, right? The bodies are staying, we failed to get to the upper quadrant, I should say, which is good. And the bodies are staying within the lower quadrant, so that's indicative of short, right? So I'm just waiting for us to break away again, give us another bearish fair value gap, right? Looking at the 15 seconds. We are 1 minute away from the macro. So let's see what we get. All right, so I'm gonna, because we have respect to this, right? I'm going to go ahead and waiting for a fair value gap, because this is a possible immediate rebalance, right? Let's see what the 15 seconds look like. Let's see. I'm just waiting for more information. I'm thinking that we could see the push up to here, right? But I'm also waiting on a fair value gap to a displacement with a fair value gap to see if I can get that trade up to there. Yeah. I would play that. Right. To get us up into here. Using what I'm looking at, right, is that we've been kind of overlapping the range of each candlestick. So that's showing high resistance to me. And the fact that we have no news, right? You know, what I'm thinking is, right, we've already dropped on the 15-second, we've already taken sell side here with these two lows and then displaced fair value gap here and then a second leg. So this should send us up into this if it wants to get to the previous weekly high without giving us this. And this is the only reason why I am not necessarily excited about longing this, but it really could play out. So let's see how this goes. Alright. If we displace and get a bearish fair value gap, then I probably will, you know. But what I'm also looking at is the fact that we have not made an attempt to go into the RTH gap any at all. That's showing strength. It has no interest in going lower, right? And so right now I'm just watching. We could get that draw up into here. This is essentially a 2R, right? I would look to add to my position. But because of the conditions and the fact that we aren't creating any fair value gaps on the 1 minute, I'm not gonna push it to add. But if the conditions were better per se, this is an opportunity to add here in this fair value gap. We've left this one open, right? And any subsequent fair value gap until we get here is an opportunity to add to the position, but I won't for this trade, right? So from here to here is essentially 46 points. If it gets to my 2R, then that's 51, right? So we're potentially putting in this bearish fair value gap, right? The body of this candle, let's see, closes 46.25. It's a 15-second gap. Okay. I'm thinking if it does trade up and tap this fair value gap, I'm gonna reduce my stop to this wick if it doesn't come and stop me out before. Because what could potentially happen right now is it get up into here and then roll over, right? And remember, I still have targets that are down here. Okay, let's see what we have now. Would I consider this bearish now? Not yet. Not yet. Where's 10 a.m. open? We opened here at 10, right? We really could have just came and tapped this fair value gap in this place, or it really could be a reversal. How I'm gonna determine how I'll play this is if we're able to come and close above this, or if we get a bullish fair value gap and close above this, I'll go ahead and long into these previous weekly high. I'm not entirely sure if we'll get to the other daily highs today, but if it ends up coming here, showing respect in this, bodies are closing below or within the fair value gap minimum, and we start to roll over, then I'll go ahead and take that short and I'll target these lows here, which is really my preferred trade idea. But let's see. It is after 10, right? Let's see what we get. Where it's at right now, it really could play both ways. So I'm gonna wait just to see what we get. So I'm watching this gap. Based on how we treat this gap, I'll determine my next move, right? And this is typical on Monday after NFB, right? where price can just be not as clean. I was expecting cleaner price action. Um, because we have CPI, we might get it tomorrow instead of today. Um, but let's see. Let's see what we get. Right now, we are looking like we want to respect this here, but I would have to see it start to roll over for me to go ahead and short it again. And then of course excuse me. So we've breached the consequent encouragement. I don't really like that. But we haven't fully invalidated this yet. If we get a close above it, what time is it? 10:07. I will look to long it out into these previous weekly high. And I'll put my stop below this, right? Touch accounts for encouragement of this body stating. Does we gotta wait? Because we need more information, right? And then if it just pops and just runs there without giving me a fill, then it is what it is, right? So it's good that the bodies are staying inside the fair value gap. I'm not entirely convinced though, because we still could just disrespect it. So I still gotta wait and see. Alright. We could trade down and then go back up. And in that instance, I would not want to see the lower half traded too. Right? But for now, the bearish fair value gap is holding. Now that we've left it to the downside on a close, I would not want to see the upper half traded to, or at least the upper quadrant. And then if we start to displace lower, then I'll take the next fair value gap to go lower. But I'm still waiting on more information at the moment. It just depends on what we do right here, right? If we can get a closure below this, I'll short that. But if not, then it's still a no-go for me. It's hanging around this fair value gap a lot, and I don't necessarily like that. Right? If I was short, I would have wanted it to give some sort of response from it by now, right? The longer that it stays in it, the more likely that it will fail. But it's still not. What I'm looking at is that we traded up. This was a change in the state of delivery. We traded up to this. We respected. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit a short for this. Yeah. And yeah, my stop will be above that, because if we get above that, then we're definitely just either gonna consolidate or we're gonna go higher. So that would invalidate shorts for me, and then I'll target the lows that I had in mind. I'll target that first low there, right? Okay, opportunities to add. I won't be adding on the 15-second because of how price is. Right. And then if this fails, then we know that the morning is it's not the conditions to be pushing in, alright? So, let's see. This would essentially be a 5R, right? Let's see how the 15-second, let's look at the 30-second, see how that's playing out. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna use this wick to add to my position. So I'm gonna add one more at the lower quadrant here. This is a possible area to add as well. If we can get a close below this gap, it should serve as an inversion fair value gap, right? We can partial one at the new day, the new week opening gap here, and then I'll hold the rest through to there. Right. This should become a mitigation block, right? So this is our mitigation block. That's our first. That's another area to add, right? If we get a close below it, we can add, and we really want to see the upper half remain open once, you know, once we get a close below it. Now that we've taken this low, right, we definitely should not come back above this. I cannot move my stop to break even as yet because we really could spike up and touch this order block again. Maybe. Ideally we don't, but I think I will leave my stop where it is just for now. The moment that we create a lower high, or we create another order block in this place lower, then I'll move my stop to break even, right? So we can, this is a possible area to add mitigation block here. Inversion. Let's put that back. We also have another fair value gap forming right here. So that's also an opportunity to add. Now that we've done all this, I am definitely gonna put my stop to break even. So this would be a risk-free trade at this point right here. And then if it comes back, then I will. And the reason I did that is because we've created another fair value gap. We haven't gotten an order block as yet. But because of the market conditions today, it's not a smart thing to hold that, right? To have risk open too long on a day like today. So let's see what we can get. inversion. So what we're trading inside of right now is the mitigation block, right? Ideally we want to see it stay out of the upper half of that mitigation block. Okay, that's the stop at break even, guys. So what I'm looking at is trade it down to this order block, right? And this is probably giving us the push for this previous week's high. So there's a lot of back and forth in this morning's price action. So I'm thinking that we just go for previous week's high now, right? So let's, yeah. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, and we'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same place.